Coming and going. Coming and going. That's the Florida Keys road trip. People coming to Isla Mirada or Key West, and then going home short on money and sleep. Meanwhile, Marathon is the often overlooked middle child. It's the pit stop for gas, the quiet place to pull over for that sunset photo. But Marathon has a story to tell. It goes something like this.
They're after it, they're coming.
Most charter guides featured on a fishing show would prefer the hero's treatment. The bent rod, the grip and grin, the slow-mo pose. But that's Hollywood trickery. This is the real work. Taking inventory of the tackle. Sewing a ripped cast net in the driveway. Captains like Jeff Malone know it's the job behind the job.
Being a guide is far more than just the fishing. That's what everyone sees, and that's what everyone thinks guiding is the fun stuff. The fishing part's the part that keeps us wanting to do it. Oh, this looks fabulous. Yeah, because you're seeing that small percentage of the super fun that keeps us doing it. There's a whole lot more work involved than most people realize in a day of fishing.
Tourists and transplants are a big part of the Florida Keys story. But Jeff has roots here. He was born and raised in the Keys, and Marathon is one of his launch points.
You know, I really think that a lot of the tourists that come through Marathon use it more or less as a breezeway to get from the mainland to Key West more than a destination, which is a bit of a shame.
Marathon, Florida. Population 8,900. A series of 13 islands spread across 10 miles halfway through the Florida Keys. Marathon has lived most of its life without rules or formal oversight. It wasn't incorporated as a city until 1999. The Florida Keys has year-round fishing, but the odds stack up in the winter. Cold fronts, storms, rough seas. Sometimes the fishing is in your backyard, and sometimes it's 60 miles away. And here we are in a place called Marathon. How appropriate.
Marathon offers a lot in the way of access to not only the Everglades National Park, but we have the reef, we have the offshore waters, we have Florida Bay, and it's also a great jumping off point if you want to fish the backcountry of the lower Keys. So we really have access to a diverse ecosystem, which I really like.
Perhaps the most important assets for a charter captain are the spots. It takes time to find them and secrecy to protect them.
We regard them, as prized possessions, and that's the key to our entire livelihood.
Marathon, Florida is only 9 square miles, which makes Faro Blanco Resort and Yacht Club its main landmark. Look for the historic lighthouse. You can't miss it. Faro Blanco knows what guests need. 74 slips with easy access to the Atlantic, waterfront dining, and a hotel that's hard to leave.
How are you today?
I'm all right. How about yourself?
Can't complain.
Here's the part of the job the client doesn't always see. As with every charter outing, it requires the right equipment. One boat that can do it all. The 26 Hybrid is Yellowfin's most versatile design yet. For power, twin 4-stroke Mercury 200s, the outboard of choice. Simrad's handheld VHF radio has integrated GPS, crisp audio, and features like plotting and navigation modes. For rough, rugged, leak-proof, and long-lasting, it's Yeti and nothing else. PENN has the best in heavy and light tackle for success in any situation. Costa has been making sunglasses specifically for the saltwater angler for 30 years. A custom fiberglass replica by King Sailfish release mounts captures your trophy catch down to the finest detail. A captain's spots. They aren't currency. They're stockpiled like end-of-days food rations. Points marked down on charts that take trial and error to figure out.
The difference oftentimes between a stellar day and a mediocre day is the spot. Let's just face it, it's what it is. So once you've got all your knowledge down about tying the right rigs and having the right equipment and having the right boat and having the right tackle, that's great. But if you don't have the spots, your day is going to be different than my day, just because I've spent all these years gathering up these locations and fishing them enough to know when to go there and how to fish them. For anybody in the guide business, the coordinates are often held near and dear because these are the places that we make our living off of.
Today, a short run to the flats. The water isn't cooperating. It's churned up into a milky blue. Thankfully, triple tail and low visibility are a good match. They often lie on their sides on the surface, patiently waiting for whatever the tide brings.
It's chasing him. Ooh, he ate it. I got him on there. A little triple tail. Triple tail. There. Naturally, the biggest challenge with cobia fishing is locating them. That's the real trick of it. So often you're either surprised, you pull up on a spot and then wow, they're there. And in other cases, it's a time of year thing.
And that's what happens. Cobia show up.
Yeah, you can see it out of there. It's not a big one, it's cobia. It's definitely a cobia.
During the winter months, cobia migrate south. The largest concentrations found in the Florida Keys. When spring arrives and water temperatures start to climb, the fish work their way back north. For cobia in the Keys, this is the magic window.
Each and every time we go out there, it's a puzzle. Each and every day, we're trying to connect the dots to put it together to figure out all these elements that need to go into our day. And that's the biggest challenge of the game.
A decent start, but conditions aren't exactly what Jeff wants. Time to make a move. To get close to this mob, heading 60 miles offshore is the best option.
I think the cobia fishery as a whole is really healthy. It's really well managed. I've not noticed any kind of decline in the fishery at all. As a matter of fact, I think it's as strong now as it's been all the years of my life I've fished for them. So current regulations are working perfectly. I think it's a wonderful case of where the fisheries managers have done their job and have managed them quite well. We have to now, with pursuing our fisheries, really manage the size limits and quantity limits because fisheries are being pressured more now than ever. The fisheries managers just have to really continually monitor the pressure. That's really what it boils down to, is pressure.
When it comes to viral fishing videos, Goliath Grouper are YouTube royalty. They've pulled anglers into the depths off kayaks and swallowed blacktip sharks whole.
If you drop a live bait down there, if there's one around, he's going to eat it. They're really not too picky.
And we go to the same place. Head up, look sharp, it's time to move. You gotta figure it out till you fit the groove.
Even though this one is sizable, it's not even close to the max size, which is upwards of 800 pounds.
They're always trying to go home. It's really a serious tug of war. The minute he hits that thing, you got to get on him and get him up and out, or he's going to win the war very quickly.
There's a place I can go where the lights are turned down low and the stars above the ceiling start to take a different meaning when the fire's slowly dying out. And my mind is a disaster while my heart is beating faster, and I know my time is running out.
Heading offshore was the right call. That good old feeling of marking a point just happened. Here it is, the cobia motherlode. Like a pack of greyhounds chasing a stuffed rabbit, the cobia rushed the topwater. It's a sight to behold.
Ooh, here they come. Look at 'em.
Holy cobia jumping out of the water.
Season has a lot to do with it. All of these spots I frequent throughout different times of the year, and I can tell you that it's a seasonal thing with that particular species. The cobias, they start coming in here about this time of year, and they stick around for a few months, but then they're inevitably going to move off and migrate on because that's just what they do. It's definitely a seasonal fishery.
This is a better fish.
Don't leave fish to find fish. Jeff holds fast on his spot, and his patience is rewarded. "60 miles offshore, the water is as clear as the aquarium tank. Call it the cobia tango. Pull the lure away, let it catch up, then do it again. It wants to nose the artificial to make sure it's real, so keep it a healthy distance.
They're after it. They're coming. Oh, gosh.
By the second or third time, it will charge to full speed. Thus the nickname, the brown bull.
Come on, eat it. Come on, get them. Awesome. Fish.
There's not a lot of days where you show up on a spot and they're that, A, the quantity's there, B, they're that hungry and aggressive and willing to play with us.
Got it. That's a nice one.
That was an exceptional day in my eyes. For anybody that's excited about catching cobias or enjoys catching cobias, I think that that's a fantastic show of how it can be when you're at the right place and you've got some fish that are willing to cooperate, what that day can look like. And I think that we really were able to capture that. The stars aligned and we just happened to have a fabulous, fabulous day of cobia fishing.
I really started fishing when I was a little boy. My dad was a big scuba diving, spear fishing, stone crab trapping, commercial fishing kind of guy, and so naturally gravitated toward wanting to be on the water, wanting to go on the boat with him. I guess that's really where it all started.
From hobby to sport to career. As Captain Jeff Malone reflects, these connections are made clear. In hindsight, they're obvious.
The enjoyment, I kind of took it to the next level of, really kind of doing it a lot to the point of obsession. And it wasn't until really, really late one night, a friend of mine and I were snook fishing. We had a big live well tank in the back of the truck, and somebody said, this is obviously more than a hobby. And that's kind of when it occurred to me that maybe my problem was a little more than just a hobby. So maybe it is something that I could, pursue as a career.
Sometimes it's hard to stop in the middle to see what's right in front of you. Sounds like a place we've been before.
With all the ground we've covered, with all the fights we've won, I won't let you drown in the ocean. I won't watch you burn in the sun. We'll sing it in a song.